Hey Rebels, my name is Matthew Barton. Welcome to the Rebellion Brewing Podcast. Last week, Saskatchewan breweries pulled in a bunch of hardware at the Canadian Brewing Awards. Rebellion took home a couple golds and won Beer of the Year for its Cherry Lambic. Mark Heise, President and CEO of Rebellion Brewing, is sitting down with me today to talk about the beers that won and what it means for Saskatchewan's beer scene. So let's get into it. Mark, welcome to the show.
All right, let's do it.
Let's put the Canadian Brewing Awards into context. What are they? Who runs them?
Well, the Canadian Brewing Awards, they've been around for about 19 years. They're run by a company called Untappd Media, headed up by Rob Engman, who I do know and have worked with over the years. But yeah, they also run a conference attached to it. And it's a legitimate competition. A lot of times there's competitions in the brewing industry that are kind of a pay-to-play type of a thing, or like everyone's a winner type of a thing. This isn't that the case. This is a serious competition. There's thousands of entries from hundreds of breweries across Canada, and it's all judged by certified beer judges. So you have to go through the BJCP, Beer Judge Certification Program, and become a certified judge. In fact, some of the judges I've trained to become certified and whatnot. And there's a whole lot of details and information that goes into how you judge, but ultimately it's completely blind. So there's no favoritism. There's no way to really rig it or anything like that. So it's as legit as it comes. And it's also it's pretty much the only national competition in Canada, but it's basically the biggest competition that we can enter. The only other one we can enter is the World Beer Cup, which has been on hold for a couple of years because of COVID. But yeah, as I explained to another journalist, it's kind of the equivalent of for us to win Beer of the Year. It's kind of the equivalent of winning Film of the Year at the Oscars. So we'll take it. It feels pretty good.
On the grand scale of things, how competitive are these awards?
Well, it's very competitive. You know, the whole idea of craft beer is to make something really great and delicious. It's an artisan product. There's a ton of science. It's a real product. I don't think there's a competition for who makes the best pen. I'm just holding a pen in my hand right now. Maybe there is a competition for who makes the best pen, but no one really cares. This is a big deal, and there's a great bunch of camaraderie and support and knowledge sharing amongst brewers, but we also really like to be acknowledged, within the industry for brewing excellence. Rebellion, we're known for a lot of things, and people like this about us or that about us, or our beer names or our artwork, but we I think we are really good at a lot of those things. But it's always important to me. It's always in our vision and values statement. We want to be known for brewing excellence. When I wrote our vision and values statement before we even opened, one of the key visions was to be recognized globally for brewing excellence. I think we're part of the way there. Feels good.
When it comes to judging process, you said it's a blind judging. Let's step back a moment and start from the beginning. What does beer judging look like, and what is the significance of a blind versus whatever else?
Right. So you have to be a certified judge, which means you have to know how to judge beer. When you're judging it against a criteria, a set of guidelines for that specific style, and there's specific ways that you rank them. Without trying to make things too confusing, I just judged at a food competition on the weekend as well as a barbecue competition the weekend before that. It's really comes down to, do you like it or not? And that's fine. But that's pretty subjective, pretty loosey-goosey. I have 2 certifications as a barbecue judge. I literally showed up for half a day, listened to someone talk about barbecue, and then ate barbecue, and then I was a certified barbecue judge. Certified beer judge takes months and months of study and education and tastings, and then you have to write and pass these very, very difficult exams. It's equivalent to a 300 or 400 level university course. It is not easy. A lot of people, frankly, don't pass it. So there's just a whole lot more that goes into that. That was a whole big tangent from a blind judging, but essentially, so these very highly trained, skilled people with a set of guidelines, are sitting at a table, and they're brought plain glasses that has nothing else other than an entry number, and that's what you're judging. So when we talk about beer, we could probably dedicate a ton of episodes to Untappd, where you have reviews, and we love Untappd and this and that. But a lot of people judge Untappd, or just they set those types of scores based on how the name of the beer or the artwork on the beer. You can't do that in a blind judging. All that you've got is a glass of beer, a generic glass of beer in front of you, and all that you've got is your nose and your mouth, and that's about it. So
I remember when we were at the ales competition, I'm hanging out in the basement of the Bushwhacker, and we're labeling glasses as fast as we can, and they're pouring all these bottles as fast as they can and getting them out to the judges, just to ensure they have the proper pour and the proper product. And they were very strict. Like, there was a lot of frantic action kind of behind the scenes. But then when we walked out to where the judges were, very quiet, everybody was very serious. It's not like a sloppy, fall down, drunk, haha, good time. It's like these people are very dedicated to doing the job well.
Yeah, we're not maybe the most fun bunch of people when there's beer judging. It's very serious. Again, when your friends, if you need a beer judge, you can call on me, ha, ha, ha. They would hate it. They would probably get up and leave because it's not fun. I mean, it is fun, but it's very, very serious. You're doing a ton of sensory analysis and research, and you're trying to find the words to describe it, and trying to really, brewers put so much time and effort into making the best possible beer. As a judge, you owe it to them to score it as accurately as possible.
From my own personal perspective, and I apologize for bringing this back to what I understand, but it's where I can relate to it, is it's taken me years to be able to pick out flavors and off notes or desirable traits in a beer. Years of asking you questions and reading and tasting. And I feel like I'm just at the very beginning of knowledge and learning. And is there like a crash course or a better way to do this? Or is this just kind of the journey for a lot of people?
What I tell people is you have to drink a lot of beer, which again, you think, ha, 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 I get to drink a lot of beer. But you're drinking it and really analyzing it. You're trying to build up a vocabulary. As I said on the last podcast, as you're drinking a beer, think about it. And if you're drinking a beer with someone else, say what you're thinking. I think it tastes like whatever. I don't know, kumquats or daffodils or whatever, a hint of asparagus. I don't know, do that. That's how you build that. And it maybe sounds ridiculous, but that's how you become, that's how you develop those sensory skills, and allows you to pick out good from bad and otherwise. I'll rant on the Facebook Beer Lovers of Saskatchewan. I was like, taste beers blind. Do that. What I just said, right? Go and buy 3 or 4 oatmeal stouts this weekend. And, you don't have to, it doesn't have to all be serious and boring, but before the party, the party really gets going, take the time to actually taste them and taste them side by side. And you'll pick up on all those differences. That's how you become skilled at that. It's a skill that you need to practice and keep up with. And that's how you just become better.
We've covered a little bit about the importance or what goes into a beer judging competition. Ultimately, what does this mean for Saskatchewan when we have 3 breweries pulling in hardware from this competition?
Yeah, so I was really stoked to see, we were watching the awards streaming live on Saturday night in the tap room, and 21st Street Brewing was the first Saskatchewan brewery to get a call for their, they got a silver medal for their Scarecrow, which is a Belgian Brett beer. And, I've known Casey for a long time. We've judged beer together. We were home brewing, over the years and stuff. And, Casey takes his beer pretty seriously, and so for Casey to win his first commercial award like that, I mean, that's huge. Rafter R Brewing as well, for Ryan to win an award for his Rausch beer. Again, he opened just as the pandemic was kicking off. Rafter R's in Maple Creek, by the way. Now Ryan does have some commercial brewing experience from Alberta, but he's in charge of his own thing. He's the man, and he's got to make it happen. And so for him to win an award, this early on in his career is just phenomenal, right? Because people maybe haven't had a chance to know that there even is a brewery in Maple Creek, Saskatchewan. Well, there is, and it's damn good. So check it out. So, I mean, that's just, putting that stuff on the map, it just legitimizes everything you do. And, again, nationally, it turns heads. I remember when Ontario first started winning a few more awards at these competitions, because it was primarily dominated by Quebec and BC, which again is kind of where craft beer has took off a lot sooner before anyone else. Really in the 90s, Quebec and BC have had a pretty thriving craft beer scene, and it took a long time for Ontario to get their act together. And then just over the last couple of years here, Alberta finally started taking off, and they started winning the awards. And I remember when a lot of those Alberta breweries first opened, and a lot of the serious beer community was like, well, their beer sucks. And it did. Frankly, a lot of it was terrible. But they figured it out. They're like, we have to get better. And now they've got the awards to prove it as well. My buddies at Establishment Brewing in Calgary, they won Brewery of the Year. And they deserve it. Their beer is amazing. And I tell everyone, you should drink Establishment beer. And so anyways, I think that we're just kind of we're just at the beginnings. We're still in those very early beginnings for Saskatchewan. We know that we've been making some pretty good beer for a while now, and it kind of puts us on the map. People often overlook Saskatchewan time and time again. You see it repeatedly in the media, and we're saying, no, you dummies, we're pretty darn good, and you need to come here and drink it. Because you see people, oh, can I buy it in Ontario? No, you can't buy it in Ontario. You got to come to Saskatchewan. Like, come on, this is where the good stuff is.
Well, let's talk about the beers that we had win. So let's start off with Hoppy Pollinator. Let's talk about that beer for a little bit.
Yes, we won gold medal in the honey maple category for our beer called Hoppy Pollinator. I'm not sure if any of you folks remember that, but it's a really special beer, really unique beer. Turned out beautifully. It's a stronger beer. It's got tons of Saskatchewan honey in it, and then we added a fair bit of hops at the end, not to make it bitter, but to just kind of bump up that fruity citrus note. And it was amazing. What makes it even more special is that Zal McClellan, who's one of our brewery managers here, that was his first commercial beer recipe that he came up with. Zal's a very talented brewer. He graduated from Olds College Brewing Program, and he is just an absolute wizard on the technical side, on the equipment side. Just knows all that stuff inside and out. But he hadn't had a lot of a chance to do recipe development, which, that's what a lot of brewers want to do. And so we kind of, took off. I wouldn't say take off the training wheels, because that's frankly an insult. But we gave him the opportunity to do it, and he won a gold medal. Not too bad for his first try. So I think we're gonna let Zal do a few more and maybe win a few more gold medals.
He's so frustratingly humble about it. I go to talk to him about it, and he's just like, shucks. And I'm like, damn it, Zal. Take the win.
Yeah, like not everyone. Whatever people think of me, but I have trouble sometimes taking compliments. I'm trying to get better at it, but I think again it just shows the character of a lot of people that are in the brewing industry, is that we truly are humbled by those awards, because we really do put our heart and soul into them. And a lot of times, I don't know if you'd say it's thankless, but yeah, just anyways, it's that's just not the type of people we are. And so anyways, I'm here to pump Zal's tires, even if he won't pump his own.
The other gold medal that we won was for our cherry lambic. I know we've done a full podcast episode. I'm going to include it in the show notes, so if people want to go back and hear all about that, they can find out about it. So we're not going to go deep dive onto cherry lambic, but to win beer of the year, how does that work?
Right. So there's 56 categories, I think, in this competition, and there's a gold medal awarded in all 56 categories. So then, as standard BJCP judging, is you take all of the gold medal beers and they move on to the best of show round. And again, that's where you take your most senior judges and they taste all of the gold medal beers and ultimately pick the best beer in the competition. And that turned out to be our cherry lambic. So that's how that one won. So that's why it's such a heck of an accomplishment, because it's truly the best of the best. It's not just based on a point system or anything like that. It's people sitting down, tasting the beers blind side by side. And you can say, well, how do you taste, a lambic versus a lager versus a stout? You got to be a really good judge. You got to really know good from bad, pick out any potential flaws. I've judged best of shows. It's frankly a ton of fun, but you have to know what you're doing. or you'll get embarrassed really quick by the other judges at the table.
100%. I know I could not do that. I just know that I need more knowledge and more training. I would feel maybe comfortable sitting down for a stout tasting, a stout challenge, and maybe an IPA piece. But when it comes to saisons or the more esoteric styles like Rausch beers, I could never judge that. It tastes like smoke. Like,
yeah, exactly. It really comes beyond the I like this or I don't like this frame of appreciating beer. I will say with the cherry lambic, not to get into the whole history on it or this or type of style, but I did have to look it up on the weekend, and I just thought it was funny that literally it was 3 years to the day from when we brewed that beer to when we bottled that beer. Most beers take 2 weeks or less to make. So to brew a beer that took 3 years, that's a pretty special beer, and so to be recognized for that one feels pretty good.
You touched on it earlier, and you said things are starting to happen in Saskatchewan. We're starting to bring home hardware. We're starting to earn the recognition. And I wanted to kind of unpack the why of that happening. And I don't think it's enough to say, well, we've just been here long enough, because Ryan comes right out the gates and wins in his very first year of operation at out of Maple Creek there with Rafter R. So then I think, is it because we're building relationships with farmers? Is it something about having the ability to move quickly from the field to the kettle? What is that special something that's giving us an edge to move so quickly?
Yeah, I think in Saskatchewan we have that community amongst the brewers, but then also amongst right down to the farmers, or even the crop scientists and research work being done at the U of S. So, with the cherry lambic, those cherries are sour cherries grown in Saskatchewan. We bought them from our friends Over the Hill Orchards in Lumsden, who we've been friends with forever. And, I started using those cherries as a home brewer. I can't even remember how long ago. And I remember the first time I brewed with them, and I was like, this is the best fruit for making beers. And I've said that ever since. And it's the truth. And you can literally ask anyone else. I know Jeff at Nokomis likes using those sour cherries. They are phenomenal. And they're from Saskatchewan. They're grown in Saskatchewan. There literally is not a better fruit for beer than those. Right here in Saskatchewan. The end.
I like that very first tweet that you pushed out after we won, just saying Saskatchewan grows the best crops in the world, and it makes sense to turn them into kick-ass beer.
Yeah, so that's where I think we're fortunate to have those things. We grow those sour cherries right at the brewery. We grow Haskaps right at the brewery, also developed at the U of S, also very delicious. So you've just got that connection to those folks. You want to work with them because you get to know them through the tight knit community here, and you realize that they have pretty darn good products. So of course you want to use them. But then I think also just by having more breweries pop up in Saskatchewan, again, it creates that friendly competition. We want to one-up each other. We want to do better each time. Oh, so-and-so used some new type of grain. Oh, well, I want to try that now too because it's going to make my beers better as well. So you kind of get that one-upmanship, and it's pretty awesome. And then the consumers grow along with that, which then allows us to make more weird beers or more experimental things. And so you just create that whole microcosm of whatever, I don't know, awesomeness. I don't know.
Because we won these awards, what do you think's going to happen? Do you think there's going to be a groundswell of recognition, or is it kind of just a fart in the wind? Like, is this going to make a difference to the bottom line or to Saskatchewan's industry?
I think awards are a funny thing at the best of times. You're never quite sure what it's going to do specifically for you. But I think, it does create that groundswell of support. It does legitimize what we are doing. I just walked across the street to run home for a second where I live, and just some people just started saying, hey, congratulations on your award. I mean, that's pretty cool. And then I logged into a Zoom call for Warehouse District Board meeting, and there's people from the city and like they wouldn't shut up about it. They're like, "Oh my God, we have this award-winning brewer, best in Canada." And I didn't tell them, but anyways, it resonates, right? And so, and even this week, our wholesale orders everyone wants to order cherry lambic. So I don't know necessarily what the long lasting effect is going to be in terms of sales per se, but it just like I say, it legitimizes us. It puts us on the map when we work with government officials. It's like, yeah, we're not just a bunch of hobbyists. We're not a bunch of amateurs. We're not a bunch of weirdos that are just, pushing our own little personal agendas. We are legitimate and can stand. We can hold ourselves. We can hold our own amongst anyone else in Canada.
That's really exciting. On my part, I just want to give a shout out to Zal and Vanessa and the brew crew at Rebellion, who I know have just been banging their head against the COVID wall and just doing their damnedest this last 18 months to just get across the finish line. And I want to give a shout out to you because I see the leadership in the background and I see the hard work that you're putting in, and it just makes me really proud to be a part of the team, and just getting to tell the story is a lot of fun. And so thank you.
Well, no, I mean, thank you. I mean, it does feel great. And I talk to everyone that works in our production area in the brewery, whether you come up with the recipe or not, everyone, if you're the person cleaning the hoses, if you don't clean the hose properly, the entire beer is ruined. And we have to throw that down the drain and we lose money. So that sucks. And you can't market or promote a beer that we dump down the drain. So everyone's job back there is so critical, and they all take that pride in what they do, and you don't want to let anyone down. So I think that's really important, and not to toot my own horn, but to just kind of circle back again on why I think we've got such a great thing going in Saskatchewan, is that the bulk of the breweries are owned by people that are brewers and that do have a passion for making great beer. And a lot of times it's really obvious. I was recently in Calgary, again, talking to the folks at Establishment and Cabin and, some of my friends, and you can tell which breweries are run by brewers and which ones maybe aren't. And it's not that they're no good or this or that, but it's just a different approach and a different mentality when you have that driving passion to make the best possible beer that you can. So, yeah, I guess I would say that we're really lucky and we're really fortunate at Rebellion. We have several certified beer judges. We have such a strong brewing team. We have 6 people working in the back of the brewery, which is quite a few full-time staff. So we got a lot going on. We got a lot of energy and ideas and just a great team. So being able to celebrate these wins as a team was pretty huge on Saturday night.
Mark, thanks for your time today.
Hey, it's always fun talking about good stuff like this.
Cheers. Rebels, thanks for listening today. If you have any questions or comments about this episode, be sure to join us on our brand new Facebook group page, the Rebellion Brewing Podcast. I'm going to include links so you can find out more information about the Canadian Brewing Awards and the wins of all the Saskatchewan brewers. I'm also proud to let you know that we're members of the Saskatchewan Podcast Network. It's a one-stop shop for tons of locally produced shows from across our province. You can find them at saskpodcastnetwork.com. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Untappd so you don't miss out on the latest in Sask craft beer news. Thank you for joining the Rebellion.